welcome back to another video. Today we unbox the PlayStation 3 part of my game collection and add it to the game shelf. The PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch games are looking really nice up there. Today we add the PlayStation 3 games to the second shelf. We have over 50 plus PlayStation 3 games to show in this video. Thank you for checking out this video. If you haven't already, go check out the videos for the game collection that is behind me, and there's also more to come. Xbox fans, I haven't shown any games yet, but my Xbox 360 collection is probably my best collection out of all the games I have. Close second would be PS2 or GameCube. So definitely subscribe, make sure you like and comment. It lets me know that you're liking this series, and I would love for you to see the game shelf filled up to its completion. All right, let's get started. As you might remember from the last video, this box houses not Bailey's Irish Cream, but instead our gaming consoles, or a few of them at least. Too big and too heavy to fit into most boxes. Here's the original PS3. Alright, you may be noticing that I switched around the PS4 and PS5 games. This is because today with the PS3 games, we're gonna have them start right there in the corner where there's room for about 3 more games, and then down here. So then it's PS5, PS4, PS3, PS2. I might not do PS2 as the next video because I would like to switch it up from PlayStation, but in the grand scheme of things, it will go PS5 down to PS2 once we finally reorganize the shelf. Just like the last video, the games are gonna be semi-organized. Sometimes they might be together in alphabetical order, sometimes they're not. They're just shoved in this box and I'm pulling them out as is. We will reorganize into alphabetical order at the end. Our first game for our PlayStation 3 collection that is being unboxed and added to the game shelf is Ghost Recon 2 Advanced Warfighter. One of my very first PS3 games that I ever had. This game was always captivating to me. I loved the weapons, I loved the missions. However, I was terrible at it. I could not get very far. It was a really cool game, but like, as a kid, I found this game to be so challenging. Every once in a while I'll go back and just load up the mission and get killed and turn it off again after 20 minutes for the nostalgia. Looking nice. The clear cases next to the blue is always looking good. Our next game here is Digimon All-Star Rumble, our first Digimon game for the PlayStation 3, but not our first in our collection, as we had one for the PS4 as well. Let's get ready to Digi Rumble. In this game you can evolve, collect cards, and of course, battle. Pretty neat game. Our next game here is Dirt 3. Back when the PS3 just had incredible driving games. There were so many to choose from, and this one was quite a unique experience. The Off-Road Racer for the PlayStation 3. Our next game here is Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. 2 complete games are included, The Lost and the Damned, as well as The Ballad of Gay Tony. It's our first PlayStation 3 hits game hitting the shelf, in the red case, that is. And it's a little beat up. I don't know where or when I even got this game, but it's got like I think a little bit of water damage there. But anyway, this era of Grand Theft Auto was really exciting. I really enjoyed GTA 4. I always thought it was too dark of a game, like literally, like graphically, it was a very dull and dark and gray game. I may be wrong, I should probably go back to it, but that's just how I remember it. GTA 5 is much brighter, I find. But nonetheless, I enjoyed this time period for GTA. And look at that, the 4 PlayStation 3 games go up there nice and snug next to the other games on the shelf. Next up is 2 copies of NHL 12. You might be thinking, well, this isn't NHL 12. Well, that would be because I somehow ended up with an extra NHL 08 case and an extra NHL 12 game. I think this was my cousin's, and he was notorious for just taking the game out of the PlayStation, putting it in any random available case, and then grabbing another game, putting it in. And so they often would get mixed up. But here is the true case for NHL 12. Okay, I wasn't huge on the NHL games, but the one that I played the most was NHL 09. This is the one I actually played quite a bit of the story, or campaign, or career, or whatever you call it. And this is where I became a fan of Calgary Flames. They had an awesome team in this game, and also my name starts with C, and as a 10 or 11-year-old or whatever, I just thought, oh, that's cool, Fire, C, Calgary's in Canada, yeah, I'm gonna choose them as my team. That's kind of how I chose to support Calgary. even though I am Toronto-based. So let's get our NHL games here on the shelf. Actually gonna skip on adding this one because it is a duplicate and it's not the right game. I would hate for someone to come over and say, hey, you have NHL 08? I've been dying to play that game. And of course they look inside and it's not in there. Not that that would ever happen, but you never know. All right, I just grabbed another pile of games out of our box and we are hit with the first Call of Duty. This is when Call of Duty was absolutely shining and taking over the gaming scene. When Modern Warfare 2 and 3 became huge, Black Ops 1 and 2 were huge. This was the era for Call of Duty. Just awesome game here. A great campaign, multiplayer was fun. They also had a great special ops, which was different from MW2. It was more survival based. It was similar to zombies, except they weren't zombies, they were people. So if you've ever played Ghosts, basically it's a better version of Ghosts survival mode. Our next game here is Dead Island. It's got this unique case, nothing too special, but it is for display only from GameStop. I mean, I would rather have a regular case, an original case, but at least it's something neat. It says EB Games, which no longer exists in Canada, so that's kind of cool. A fun zombie survival story game. Our first Final Fantasy game of the collection, Final Fantasy 13. Actually a game I haven't played. I just ended up picking this up really cheap. I don't know how long ago now. I think it was maybe $5 or something like that. Like really nice and cheap. And I thought, you know, one day I'm gonna get into this series. It's a series that I haven't really dived into. Let's have a look inside. Our GameStop receipt. Let's have a look at this manual here. I love when games used to come with detailed manuals. This one's even got color. So in Canada, we get the French side, as well as the English. But like, come on, look at that. That's so awesome. So for getting this for really cheap, and then getting awesome complete in box, you just don't get that anymore. Okay, we reach our Dragon Ball phase of our video here with the first Dragon Ball title, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z. I really gotta try to get these stickers off. These are awful. I hate how GameStop did this. These stickers that just never like to come off. And I have spent a long time getting rid of them on a lot of games. But let's get focused here. A fun game, a game I actually played for the first time a couple weeks ago with my brother when he came over. And yeah, I'd never played this one before. And it was actually really fun. Taking place right before the Super saga, right when Dragon Ball Z was finishing and introducing the characters that we became well accustomed to in Dragon Ball Super. But they have Z Brawly there for some reason. I guess Super Brawly was not a thing. And we're still in Dragon Ball Z. Okay, next we have one of my favorites here. We have Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection. Back on the GameCube and PS2, I just love playing Budokai. I don't think I played 3 as a kid, but the first 1 and 2, man, I sunk a lot of hours into those when I was very little. Been a Dragon Ball Z fan all my life. If you didn't know, I run the Kid Go 10 Facebook page, which has 86,000 followers, which I've been running since 2012, so that's been a lot of fun. It's also got a really neat feature about this game is if you open it up, not only is this really cool artwork inside, it's actually a reversible cover. So let's go ahead and try that out. And our new and improved Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection with Super Saiyan 4 Goku here, and of course, just regular Goku there. So that's pretty neat. I love when games give you the option to change out your cover. And I believe our last Dragon Ball game for the PlayStation 3, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi. There could be more Dragon Ball Z games in the box. I can't really remember for sure, but these 3 were all next to each other. The Tenkaichi series is a fan favorite as well. And if you've played Sparking Zero, which is basically the new Budokai Tenkaichi 4, then you'll know how great these older games were as well. So this was also the first Dragon Ball game to have character creation, which was awesome, which they've expanded upon with Xenoverse, of course. We have our first Assassin's Creed as well for PlayStation 3, Assassin's Creed 3. Apparently it came with 4 exclusive missions for single player that were only on PS3, which I didn't know. This game I believe I got in a big bundle, so I have not played the 3rd one. If you watched my last video, you know that I do really like Odyssey. And Odyssey was actually the first one I played, so I haven't played any of the older ones. which I know is a catastrophe, but I will get to them. It's on my backlog. Our only sealed game for the PlayStation 3. I picked this up for, I guess, $9.93, and I never opened it because I don't have the Rock Band set for PS3. I have it for the other systems, and I don't know what was going through my head at the time when I bought this, but I bought this, I don't know how long ago now, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. It is the Rock Band Metal Track Pack. There we go, focus there. It came with lots of great songs here. Let's have a look there. Okay, but no, sadly, I cannot play this because I do not have the equipment for it for PlayStation 3. I have the equipment for Wii and Xbox One, but not for PS3. We have Far Cry 3. We had a great time talking about Far Cry 4 in the last video. This was the first Far Cry that I was introduced to, and this game just was awesome. Like, again, as I was talking about Just Cause 2 in the last video as well, how awesome that game was to blow stuff up and just go around this open world. It was really, really nice to do the same in Far Cry 3. I also loved the editor in this game. The map editor was super fun. And our next game is none other than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The first Call of Duty game that I was introduced to, the first Call of Duty game that I owned, and maybe my number 1 or possibly number 2 favorite Call of Duty of all time. This game just blew my mind, as it did with millions of people around the world. Not only did it have a great campaign, not only did it have awesome special ops missions, which I still go back and play, it had great multiplayer where people fell in love with online gaming. Yes, there was toxic players. Yes, sometimes there was rage quitting involved. But overall, it's a super fun, super well polished Call of Duty. And it's starting to look really good here with a few of the PS3 games being added to the second shelf. We have another NHL here. Another game that I picked up just really cheap in a big bundle. Nothing special. We have my favorite PS3 Need for Speed. This game was really fun. The first Need for Speed that I played after the legendary Most Wanted and Underground 2. So it had a lot to live up to. However, it was different, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the aspect of this game, and at the time, the graphics were just phenomenal. It blew me away. I think I mentioned that last time about the graphic jump going into PS4. That was like going from PS2 to PS3 as well. This was one of the first games I had, as well as Ghost Recon, where I was just blown away with the graphics. We have my one and only NASCAR game, NASCAR 09. Something about 09 was making me try different EA Sports games, and NASCAR 09 was a game that I played and had quite a lot of fun with. Because I was so into Need for Speeds and customizing cars, I really wanted my own NASCAR there. So yeah, super neat game. Always good to have one. We have the game that started it all, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. This game was really cool. It was revolutionary when it came out. The first to do Toys to Life and do it well. There were so many awesome Skylanders to play as. The game was a lot of fun too. And of course, they've went on to have many iterations in the series with, I don't know how many Skylanders are up to, but it's a lot. My brother has so many Skylanders, he's trying to collect them all. He has probably, I would say, 70% of the total ones that came out. And he has, I think, all the games as well. Again, a game that I was interested in because of a game that I played on the PS2. This is Nailed, an ATV off-roading game. And I've just said it there. The reason I got this was because ATV Off-Road Fury for the PlayStation 2 was one of my favorite games. So I had to go and try out another game similar to the off-road series. Next up is MotorStorm, a game that came out when the PlayStation 3 came out. This is one of those games that you could have got with your system. As you can see, not for resale. This wasn't the one I got, but this was my cousin's copy here. Pretty neat game. I think this is a PlayStation exclusive as well. Another really nice looking red case here. This is Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, let me know if this was a good entry or not into the series. I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan myself, but this game looked really fun, and sometimes when people are over, I like to throw in random fighting games or just random games to verse each other in, and this is a good one to have in the collection for sure. We have our first steelbook of the collection here. There's none yet being shown on the shelf. but there are a lot more to come in future videos, so stay tuned for that if you're a Steelbook fan like myself. This is one of my favorites that I own. It's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Got the nice umbrella logo there. Just looks so good. Inside here we have the manual as well as the disc, of course, but just looks really nice. I don't think there's any art. No, there's no art inside the case there. But yeah, just looks really good. Of course, you saw a lot of my Resident Evils for PS4, and this one's another one to have in the collection, and it's another one on the backlog, the ones that I need to get onto. Next up is Minecraft PlayStation 3 edition. If you were a Minecraft fan back in the day and this cover or the Xbox 360 cover doesn't hit you with nostalgia, then I don't know what to tell you. This game was super fun playing it on the console for the first time. Of course, now we have it on all the other PlayStation and Xbox consoles. But back then, this was revolutionary. This was so fun. To be able to play Minecraft split screen as well as online, you can't beat it. Speaking of Minecraft, if you do play Minecraft Java or Bedrock Edition, there is a server for the Roost. The Roost is my Discord group, and we have a lot of fun on there. We have a huge train station. Everybody has their own little island or city or civilization going, and there's a big spawn area, and as well as there's going to be events. One that's in the works at the time of recording is the first Argentavis Games. It's sort of like an Olympics, and it's being held in a city called Blossom City by a player named The Grinch. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, check out the link below for the Discord, and we'll hook you up with all the necessary details once you're there. Next game here is Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction. Super fun game. Ratchet & Clank was just an awesome series, especially back in the day on the PS2, PS3, and even PSP. It was my first PSP game that I had. I think I got the PSP Ratchet & Clank before I got the PlayStation 3 version, but a great PlayStation exclusive series. Also another nice red greatest hits case to add to this shelf. I don't know why, I just really like the PlayStation Hits cases. Next up we have Prince of Persia. I don't really have much to tell you about this game. It's in great condition, but it's not a game that I've played before. But if you've played it, let me know how this is. It sounds and looks really cool, but I was never into the series, so it never was top of my backlog. Another PlayStation exclusive here is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, the PlayStation take on Smash Bros. Never took off like Smash Bros did, but you have some really cool features and really cool characters as well, as you can see by the cover. Next up is a game that I found cheap in the Walmart bin when the PS3 was going out of date. This is Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. Again, another game that I never got around to playing, but I always would pick up this case, when I had my games out on the shelf, that is, and look at it and go, I need to play that, I need to play that. Again, if you've played this game, let me know. I would love to hear if you enjoyed it. It looks really neat. Pretty unique art style. NHL 13. PlayStation exclusive Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Uncharted, of course, one of the biggest PlayStation series, coming to life on the PlayStation 3 and still thriving to this day. Great game, great series. If you haven't played this and you have a PlayStation, you gotta check it out. Next we have Sonic Generations for the PS3. Of course, recently they came out with Sonic Generations with Shadow the Hedgehog. This one, the original, which has been re-released, I think, a few times. Or at least once. Really fun having the classic Sonic as well as modern Sonic in the same game. They did a really cool story involving that, and just the art style of both is great. Huge Sonic fan, and this is a great game to have in the collection. Next up is our first Lord of the Rings game. Lord of the Rings Aragorn's Quest. You could even play with PlayStation Move if you would like. Got it for a good price at GameStop or EB Games back in the day. Not my favorite Lord of the Rings, which I will show you when we get to the PS2 collection, but it is a good game to have in the collection. Another iconic shooter for the era, Battlefield 3, back when it was Call of Duty versus Battlefield. Nowadays, I think they've both kind of died a little, but am I right to say that maybe Call of Duty's the more popular one nowadays? But back then, it really did feel like Battlefield was going to take over, and then it had a lot of hype, and then I feel like it wasn't as big. But I don't know, I could be wrong about that. We have Bulletstorm Limited Edition. I don't really know what this game's about, to be honest. I never played it. What is it here? Kill with skill. Multiplayer, leaderboards, lobbies, and matchmaking. You've just crash landed on the most violent resort planet in the universe. And this is good news. Okay, so I don't really know what that's all about, but pretty cool cover. I've definitely seen that cover before. The limited edition color was really throwing me off. But there we go, Bulletstorm Limited Edition. The notorious Sonic 06, Sonic the Hedgehog, for PlayStation 3. When this game came out, again, graphics-wise, incredible. A new hedgehog being silver, so cool. As a kid, I was just thrilled. All the bugs and annoying features, not so fun. That's what gives this game a bad rep, but I really hope they remaster this and bring it back, or do a sequel or something. We have Burnout Paradise, another great racing title on the PlayStation 3. They also brought this one back to modern consoles. Iconic game, a must-have to have for the PlayStation 3. We have Little Big Planet 1 and Little Big Planet 2. These games were so fun. You know, they just were so unique at the time, and they've become a staple for the PlayStation, of course, with Sackboy's Adventure being on the PlayStation 5. But anyway, when these games came out, had a lot of fun playing these with my cousins.
On the Little Big Planet, you're a little sack person.
Our next Lord of the Rings game is a Lego Lord of the Rings for PlayStation 3. Ended up picking a lot of these games up at thrift stores over the years because they were pretty cheap, and my brother was really into Lego games, so I ended up getting as many as I could when I saw them for a good price. Always fun to have related to your favorite series in Lego form. Another Lego game here is Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. This game was also really fun as well. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I think I would prefer Lord of the Rings. Let me know, are you Team Star Wars or Team Lord of the Rings or Team both? Already the PS3 collection is the largest on the shelf at the moment, and we still have a lot of games to go. Our next game is also our second GTA for PS3, GTA 4. As I was mentioning earlier, I love this game. No manual. That's okay. And another GTA. We have GTA 5 here for PS3. We also have this on the PS4 and PC. Incredible game. It's going to be fun and really great to see GTA 6 out very soon, hopefully. Our next game here is Little Big Planet Karting, another take on PlayStation trying to compete with Nintendo. They had competed with Smash Bros. With the Battle Royale, and this was to compete with Mario Kart. Little Big Planet Karting, pretty fun game, but again, nothing beats the Nintendo giant of Mario Kart. Lucha Libre Heroes del Ring. I was into wrestling big time when I was a kid, and I really liked the high flyers like Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, and those guys, so I had to try out a Lucha Libre game. We have arguably the best racing game on the system here, Midnight Club Los Angeles. I have this for both 360 and PS3, and I played it a lot on both. My dream is that Rockstar makes another Midnight Club that was like this game. This is the definitive Midnight Club. If you like racing games and have not played this game, you need to play it. The best racing game. We have the first Uncharted to go with Uncharted 2 that we saw earlier here. The game that started the whole series, and how far it's taken off. I wonder if they knew how well it would be received when they created this game. We have Sniper Ghost Warrior, a game that I, again, have not played, but it looks really good. So, again, let me know if it's worth something I should add to my backlog or not, or if it's a skippable title. The reason for a lot of the games that I have not played for PS3 is just because I got a bundle, and I got a few of my cousin's games, and just never got the time. Especially because they were all in boxes. But here we go, here's SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Again, wrestling phase. 2009 was a great addition. I got this because I loved 2007 and 8 so much. My favorite wrestling game of all time, Day of Reckoning 2. So good, so good. Silent Hill Homecoming, terrifying game. I used to be too scared to play it. I'd have my older sister play it, and I would just watch. This game was a lot of fun, though, too. Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. Lots of puzzles, lots of horror. Great game to have in the collection. Super happy about that. I believe the first Call of Duty title to be released on PlayStation 3 and 360 era was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which of course they have brought back since the initial release. I feel like this game is what really took off the series. We have Sims 3. You cannot have a Sims for the console. The way I used to play the most back in the day was for GameCube or PS2 was Sims 2. That game was just phenomenal. Had to get Sims 3. The graphic upgrade at the time was just incredible. Sunk a lot of hours into this and sometimes still go back to play that. And here we have the start of my favorite series on PlayStation 3, Resistance: Fall of Man. This game just took me by surprise. I was not expecting anything great out of it when I first started it. Then I realized it was a co-op alien survival story that was just so phenomenal. My sister and I played through it, and then my cousin would come over and I would play through it with him. And I had two stories going on at the same time, beating this game. I beat it like 3 or 4 times, which, as you can tell by a lot of my games, which I haven't even played or beat, for me to beat this 4 times is quite amazing. So that's the first one. And of course, we had to get the sequel, Resistance 2, also a co-op story, also fantastic, also highly recommend. For a little while here, these games were really cheap. I don't know if they've gone up, but for a while I know a lot of stores, used video game stores, couldn't get rid of their copies of Resistance 2. There was just so many sitting around. They were like $3. But then eventually they went, and I don't know if they got more popular or just PS3 got more popular. But we do have the trilogy here. We have Resistance 3. They improved the graphics a little bit. They added PlayStation Move compatibility. And it was just as good, to be honest. My favorite, maybe just because of nostalgia and memories, is probably the first one. But all 3 were fantastic. Highly recommend if you're looking to sink into a great story game. This is Call of Duty 3, which I think is actually the first Call of Duty game for PlayStation 3. These games did not have the same multiplayer following, of course, as Modern Warfare and Beyond became well known for. These games were mostly known for their great storyline. And we have Call of Duty Ghosts, which for only $10 you could have got the upgrade to the PS4 version. Now the PS5 just gives you it for free if you have the PS4 version for certain games. Hated it when it came out, to be honest. I do enjoy it now. My brother and I played it pretty recently just to play this survival mode and against bots. And we had fun. But I mean, not my favorite, but used to be my least favorite. Now it's not. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our PlayStation 3 collection. The final game for PS3 hitting the shelf. We've now added all of our PlayStation 3 games to the game shelf. Let's just back up here and see the entire shelf. The top 2 shelves are full of Nintendo and PlayStation games. We have a lot to add, from systems going back. Well, we could go all the way back to Atari and NES if we wanted to, but they're not going to fit on here probably, but we'll still do a video about them. But we're definitely going to do PS2, Xbox 360, Wii, Wii U, and honestly, I don't think those 4 consoles alone will be able to fit on here. But we have more consoles as well. Now we're going to organize them in alphabetical order, and we'll be right back. usually for games like this where they say Tom Clancy's. Sometimes if I have a lot of Tom Clancy games, I'll put it under T for Tom Clancy. But because I recognize this game mostly as Ghost Recon, that's what I refer it to. I'm gonna put it under G so that if I'm ever looking for it, I know where to go. Now organized in alphabetical order, here are the PlayStation 3 titles. You may have noticed I've put titles such as The Lord of the Rings in with the L section. I just think it's easier to remember Lord of the Rings with the L, so that's why I put it there. As well, another thing you can do is put the EA Sports titles together if you would like to. I separated them because Need for Speed alphabetically comes in between NASCAR and NHL, but I could see definitely that being a thing you could do if you had a lot of Madden games, FIFA games, etc. Today I'm showing you two PlayStation 3 consoles, and of course I'm going to start with my original. My 60GB fat PS3 from 2006 or 7, around there, that I've had with me since I was a little kid. This console is maybe one of my favorite consoles. This thing has been beat up a little bit over the years. It's not in perfect condition. As a kid and an adult, I moved quite a few times. So over time of just moving and being a kid, it got a little bit damaged. But otherwise, it's still a great console. This beauty of a console has never let me down. I've never had any issues with it for 15 years. I just love its design so much. I really do like the Slim, and when my cousins ended up getting a Slim, I always wanted one as well, which I'm going to show you in just a little bit. But I always loved the original. What's great about the original is that not only does it play PS3 games, it plays PS1 and PS2 games. It's an amazing console. It can be played in AV or HDMI, and has 4 USB ports to use. Here's the PlayStation 3 Slim, which I actually picked up from a thrift store for $20 last year, which was a huge bonus. I also picked up a limited edition Xbox 360, which I'll be excited to show you in the Xbox 360 video. And I picked up a Xbox One, all for $20. I ended up selling the Xbox One not long after, as I didn't need it, as I already had an Xbox One. But I kept the limited edition Xbox because it's limited edition, and I kept the PS3 Slim because I didn't have a Slim version of the PS3. What made the already great deal for this PS3 even better was what was inside. A game that I didn't have, and a classic, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Now the downside to this console is that it did not come with the PS2 and PS1 features like the original. They ended up taking out a few of the features to try to save some money on the console. The other downside to this particular console that I picked up from the thrift store is that it had a ton of stickers on it, which took me a long time to get off. I'm still in the process of trying to remove some of the sticker residue here. But overall, I ended up cleaning up quite well. I'm still looking to improve it and clean it up further, but I made good progress. Now we can have a comparison of the two PS3 models side by side. Let me know which model of PS3 you had growing up, or which one you would like to add to your collection if you're looking for a PS3. I highly recommend this, especially if you don't have a PS2 or PS1. I think it's slightly more expensive, but I could be wrong. I'll have the prices on screen for the original model and the Slim. But if you don't care about that because you have a PS1 or PS2, the Slim is always a good option. It's easier to fit into your shelf, it's easier to store, and it's a lot lighter and compact as well. Next up, we have our controllers for the PS3. And first up is our two black controllers, which we would have got Christmas of 2006 or 2007 when I first got the PlayStation 3. Nothing different from the PS2 controller really, other than the fact that it was now wireless with a charging feature. A nice looking controller, but I always felt they were just a little bit too small for my hands. I don't know, what do you think? I did prefer the Xbox controller in this era of gaming, but I did like having colored controllers for the PlayStation 3. So much like the PS4, I did get a red PS3 controller. This was my first special controller that I got for the PlayStation, I guess any PlayStation console that I had. And this one stuck by me for years and years. So with playing all these great games on PS3, this was my go-to one. And last but not least, probably the nicest controller that I have is this nice shiny gold PS3 controller. It's in great condition. It's my newest controller, probably out of all my PS3 controllers. But one little thing that I noticed after years of being in a box, I think there was a year there where it was in some cold weather and the L1's broken, and I suspect it was the cold that is the culprit of that. So unfortunately, not good for games that require L1 frequently. I found that out when playing Call of Duty Ghosts. Other than that, it's a great, at least, shelf piece. So while many of us, myself included, did not keep our game console boxes when we first got them as kids, as we never expected to become collectors one day and really care for this stuff, but I did keep some things that I thought would be important, or at least my parents thought would be important, to hold on to, and it is the manual that came with the PlayStation 3 console. So I do have the 60 gigabyte model, the original fat PS3 60 gigabyte model, which I think is one of the rarer models and more expensive models, but yeah, so it's pretty cool to just have this for safekeeping and looking over. I mean, I've had this PS3 for so long, I know it inside and out, quite literally, so I don't think I'll be needing much of this manual, but it's really nice to have. It's barely been opened too, and I've had it, again, since like 2006 or 7. We also have the safety and support manual here in US, French, or Spanish. That's funny. In US, not English. Okay, just a safety manual. A quick little guide to video game ratings to let their parents know not to buy Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, which happened to me. The GameStop employee was like, nope, yeah, I can't sell you Grand Theft Auto 4. Your child is not 18. And then this really cool thing that you can mail in. Fast and easy, register your new PlayStation 3 online now. Use your PlayStation 3 to sign up to the PlayStation Network. As a PlayStation Underground member, you will get download exclusive PlayStation 3 games, free demo, high definition videos from the PlayStation Store, get previews and reviews of new releases, get the latest info on PlayStation 3 games, and stay connected with the world of PlayStation, and special member only. I don't remember it being called PlayStation Underground. Is this just regular PlayStation Online? If anybody knows any more details, that would be really cool to find out about. So there we have it. There is our entire library of PlayStation 3 games now on the game shelf. I would really love to know what your favorite game for PlayStation 3 is, so definitely comment that below. Especially if it's a game I don't have. I'm always looking to add new exciting games to my collection. Thank you so much for checking out this video and making it to the end. I really appreciate you following along the journey of the game shelf. Make sure to check out the 2 previous videos on the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. More collections coming soon. There's going to be GameCube, Wii U, Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Atari, NES, SNES. So many more games and game consoles to come. So stay tuned, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.